So that brings us to pitfall number 4, which is ignoring the reporting and registration requirement to government systems until the end of the process. DoD has a significant demand for much more data and reporting coming from the supplier and defense contractor community. The best practice is to maintain and transfer this data electronically through the process. The data maintenance starting from cradle and going through to when it is required for reporting ensures the accuracy of that data so that you're not manually retyping information or trying to copy and paste data from one spreadsheet to another. Downstream, the benefit to you as an organization is it minimizes those rejected shipments or submissions, meaning that, in fact, it could delay payment on your invoices. But why is this data so critical and where does it go? Well, we start with IRAPT. And IRAPT for contractors has become the area in which all of your end item shipments and all of your government property needs to be submitted to. For contractors, transmitting shipping notifications electronically, for the DoD to perform that receipt and acceptance electronically. Non-serialized item shipments as well. So what you formally know as your DD-250 process and your submission of advanced ship notices with or without RFID tag data. Now what lives within and embedded now within IRAPT is the IUID registry. And that is the big DoD's bit bucket that allows all of this very specific item data to come in so that they have accountability for what contractor, supplier deliverables are coming in or what's there for government property. It has become the property master database for government furnished property, including now non-serialized assets and material. You also, if you're coming from the property world, understand this government property transfer reference when I refer to the DD 1149. It's not a contractually obligated, required document, but it may be used to transfer government property from one organization to another. A lot of people are interested to know what exactly the registry is looking for, as lots of contract and invoice data are going over to IRAPT, but what ends up in the registry? The registry data wants to know what the item is, how and when that item was in fact acquired, that initial value of the item, and then who has the current custody of that item. Is it the government or is it a contractor? How that item is marked. And this is where the key comes in, is specific data for all of that varies depending upon whether you're sending a deliverable, legacy item, or GFP. For instance, if you're sending an end item deliverable off to the government, you need contract information, CLIN level detail, and below that will follow along with the assets that you're going to be submitting. If it's legacy equipment or property, you don't need any contract reference. Whereas with GFP, you do need to link it through to a contract. So that specific data is going to ebb and flow depending upon what kind of transaction type you're sending off to report to the government. Who's responsible for IUID? Well, all organizations, small, medium, and large. Like I said before, one person may handle one or multiple functions in this whole workflow or cycle, but the responsibilities will vary from that prime to subcontractor. For instance, subcontractors rarely, if ever, submit data electronically through to the government. In almost all cases, that's the prime contractor responsibility. Many like to know what are the consequences of non-compliance. And these are direct experiences we've had in terms of when audits are performed or when invoices are submitted. Sometimes it can be very expensive corrective action to resolve non-compliant marks and registrations. We've seen that teams have had to go to where items and end item deliverables have been deployed when a physical item is not marked or conforming with the right IUID. With one instance, we dealt with a manufacturer where they, in fact, were receiving items stateside. The equipment was deployed overseas. They recognized downstream that it was marked incorrectly, and they, in fact, had to send a team to Kuwait to resolve all of those issues. Very expensive corrective action. Sometimes IRAPT transmissions can get rejected. Payments will be rejected due to incomplete, inaccurate, or missing IUIDs or advanced ship notices. Government submissions of a product quality deficiency report, a PQDR, to the Cognizant Contracting Office can take place. It's a mark that goes against your contract, and typically you've got some kind of corrective action that you need to take in order to resolve that issue. We've also seen rejected shipments when items are received when it's discovered that, in fact, 2D data matrix non-conforming IUIDs are on the items and they need to get sent back to the manufacturer for resolution. But the biggest one of all is this of customer embarrassment. Knowing that you're developing and creating sophisticated technology for the government, but not being able to see through and getting all of these conforming military standards correctly on your shipments can really create a black mark and some doubt in your customers' minds. And so I would say that among all of these things, making sure that your customer knows you've got a good, strong handle on this for existing contracts and for any future contracts you intend to earn is absolutely key for you to getting well ahead of this.